What is up, everyone? Welcome to our first podcast. This will be the Martian Tomato podcast. I am Marley or Mars Bars,
And I am Brennan, also known as Tomato.
and this podcast will mostly be centered around DC TV shows, but we can also discuss whatever. So, the first thing we want to talk about are each of this week's episodes for Supergirl, Batwoman, Legends, and The Flash. You want to take it away, Brennan?
Yes, I can. So for my my fourth spot for this week's TV shows is The Flash. This
Mm-hmm.
episode for me was very disappointing.
Yeah.
Anyways, I feel like I could have done a lot better on certain things. Like
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't get most of it. I thought it would be more entertaining in a way. Just didn't make real much sense to me in some points, and like, it just frustrates me that we could have gotten something a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't even know where to really begin with this. Like, so when this episode was just like it had its good points obviously and its bad points. It's just like show like this season as a whole isn't the best season, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. I just believe that Barry is just he's just weird in this season, in my opinion. He's just not himself when he's losing
Mm-hmm.
his powers. He thinks he's like well, he is the main guy. He's just like he needs to start trusting more of his teammates or Team Flash per se. I think he just get he's supposed to be the main guy, but he's one person sort of thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, what are your thoughts on this episode?
Um, with the Flash, I also have it as like the worst episode of this week. For me, it was a very well, I wouldn't say anticlimactic, but it was a very underwhelming finale. Now I understand the fact that now we're gonna discuss this later on in our other segment, but like
Yeah,
I just want to kind of briefly summarize what my thoughts are. And is that like I get the fact that this is like it's not supposed to be the real ending of the season because the production cost short due to COVID-19.
of course.
But it's still like it still felt very underwhelming, and honestly, like I would have liked just a couple. I mean, obviously they couldn't film a couple more episodes, but it would have been nice if they actually like instead of those other episodes like leading up to the finale or what like the finale is right now. Um, they they drew out the story way too much. Like when I like at the end of this episode, it really did feel like that this wasn't supposed to be a season finale. And again, I understand that there are like circumstances that they out of like the production's control, right?
Yeah, I
But
get your point on that. I felt like they were trying to push too many like stories like into one thing, like
mhm,
into one episode. So I agree with you on that point that it didn't feel like a season finale. It felt like just them pushing like all the stories together just to make it like a quick because of
yeah,
this
and
COVID stuff.
especially like in the episode before this, like we were left off in not really a cliffhanger, but we are left off in the ending that they were gonna go to Atlantis and Barry's gonna get a speed. I feel like in like the actual like in like the real like season finale, I'm pretty sure that's gonna be the first couple episodes for next season. Is that Barry will go to Atlanta first or Atlantis first? Sorry, he was like, well, he was gonna still lose to Mirror Master or Ava,
Mhm.
but like he was going to go to Atlantis right after that, and then eventually like take defeat uh, Mirror Master. Uh,
Yeah,
I they could. I mean, obviously that. I mean, the cliffhanger. We were still left at a cliffhanger with the Iris.
disappearing sort of thing.
Yeah,
I don't
Iris
know if she's
disappearing.
actually disappeared. You know.
Yeah. Also, usually when there's a season finale that ends in a cliffhanger, well, I know in season three, no, sorry, season four, the Flash ended in a cliffhanger. But usually, when a season ends, it usually there's like a time jump. Now, and
Yeah.
it's going to be really interesting to see how that leads in with Iris and her disappearing in the Mirrorverse and whatnot.
Yeah, I would like to see where they go with that. I don't know if like the next season they go straight to Atlantis to fix Barry's speed, or are they going to try to focus more on trying to get Iris out?
I
Like to
feel
see
like
where they go with that.
I feel like the smarter move would try to get Barry's speed back because if
Yeah,
they try to
that's
get Iris back without like Barry's powers, I mean, like they're really gonna have a hard time, you know.
yeah, I agree with you on that point. They should try to get his speed back first. I agree on
Hmm.
that point.
All
So
right,
this episode has ups and downs.
yeah.
There's one thing I really liked about this. Well, this
Hmm.
kind of whole season, but we got more of Detective Barry sort of thing.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed, which I didn't think I would enjoy, but
Hmm.
I did. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing. I guess we'll talk about that more once we get to our other
Other
stuff.
yeah. What was the episode you had like the episode or the show? Sorry, that you had next because I know Flash was number 4 for you. What was your number 3?
Number 3 was Legends. Legends was still a very good episode. With going to college to get the what's it called?
The
Uh,
Callus.
yeah, the
Callus.
Callus.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It was a really good episode. I thought they have its points, which Legends is just more of a funny show. Supportively, it's not really
Hmm.
serious. It has its serious moments. It's just more of based on being funny and whatnot, being more of a funny PC show.
Hmm.
So I really enjoyed that. I liked most of it. I can't really complain. Um,
For me, it was very cringy. Like it was a really cringy
yeah, I
episode
get
because like
that.
if you don't know, we both Brennan and I we just graduated like a year ago, so it's
That's
like
true.
some of this stuff is kind of fresh and like well obviously this isn't like obviously this is college and we just graduated high school, but like some of the stuff that they do like sororities and whatnot, I understand like depending on where you are, maybe they still do that stuff, but like where we live, I don't even think there are any sororities here at all.
Yeah, we don't really understand, but I get the
Yeah.
college aspect where you go to college. If you're more of an athlete, you're a partier. The thing. If
Hmm.
you want to be cool, you have to party, sort of thing, which
Hmm.
makes no sense, but it is what it is.
It was funny
Yeah,
in some regards, but like at the same time, it was really cringe. I'd say it's like one of the more cringy episodes of Legends
I agree with that. It's definitely the
because
most
like some of the
episode.
concepts that they kind of like introduced with like relating to school, like or so sorry, like college and whatnot, and how like yeah, constant partying, yeah, that's a thing. Like I know there are some schools here where we live. Well, not where we live, but in like other cities close to where we live. There's like
Mm,
some like party schools is what they call it.
yeah,
Um, it's just some of the stuff is a little bit outdated.
yeah, that makes sense. Like, it's just one of those things where Legends is just focused on having fun, sort of thing. I think it's not really serious like the other shows. So just trying to fix and bring people back to life. I don't even know what their main goal is at this point, besides bringing his
Hmm.
face back to life. It's one of those things where I don't know where they're trying to do at the moment. Sort of
Yeah.
thing. That's I always have a problem with Legends. That I don't know what their angle is. Like
By angle, you mean like what do you mean by angle? If
no
you don't mind me asking.
end goal. Like I don't know what they're trying to
Oh.
accomplish, sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, 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 I see. Yeah. Okay.
That's what my problem with Legends are. I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't know where their end goal is. I don't know what they're trying to fix. I would just like to know like what they're trying to fix, sort of
Yeah.
thing.
All right. But yeah, I also had it at number 3 as well, but like honestly like for me, I wasn't too impressed by the episode. I because there were some other episodes earlier in the season that were more impressive to me. Like I think of some of the Ray, like the episodes surrounding Ray and Nora. I think those were like some
Yeah, yeah,
really good
yeah.
ones because
Those were really good.
they were still pretty serious, but they also were actually really funny. Like I actually genuinely laughed at some of the jokes in those episodes.
Hmm.
Um, this one here, I laughed a little bit. I mean, I was kind of like just like kind of chuckling every now and then, but it's like at the same time, I was just cringing for the most part. because it was because like the whole part where like the girls were the like the sorority girl part where like they're like
Oh
sharing
yeah,
like their
bro.
crush and what
I was
that
kind
was
of
so
cringing, bro.
cringe. I know 'cause they're playing like a huge stereotype where like you get the one girl on their phone, you get the one overly enthusiastic girl, and then you have the one like really nerdy girl and whatnot, the
Bro.
really shy one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that's like those are just huge stereotypes.
Yeah, I know. It's
I mean,
yeah,
then
but
again,
it makes sense though. It's just it
yeah.
makes sense. It's just
I
how
mean, this
real
show
life
is more of
works.
like a comedy type of show. It's more humorous. It's not meant to be
Yeah.
like taken seriously. Although the older seasons used to be taken
Yeah,
seriously.
the old seasons where yeah, they were definitely taken more seriously. It wasn't more jokes, it was more serious.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. What was your number two? Let's move on to your number two.
My number two is Supergirl for this week.
Mhm.
Really enjoyed this episode, except some points. I think you know that I did not enjoy. For me, it doesn't make
Yeah.
sense, but
You want to
most
explain?
people. So for me, Lena obviously, she kind of goes back to Kara, which I think I disagree with. Sort of, I get that she's. I don't know. She's kind of in a bad place, just with X obviously using her, finding out that he's been using her. But I thought she would know that by now because he's a Luther and he did it before sort of thing. But I just don't understand like her going back because for this, I guess apologizing for Kara's Earth dad's death um, was kind of a cool moment, I guess. But I just then afterwards, Kara and or Supergirl and Lena show up to the uh, I forget what it's called, but they show up and then Lena accusing Supergirl of hypocritism or whatever.
Oh yeah, for using a myriad. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just, and then all of a sudden Lena forgives her. I was just hoping for like it just go on her own sort of thing. I wasn't really hoping for Lena going back to Supergirl. I guess to stop Leviathan. I guess makes sense, but I was really mad at that. But otherwise, this episode was really good. I really enjoyed most of it. Um. Oh,
Thinking thinking
are you?
about it now, I'm kind of leaning towards having Supergirl as my number three, just because like with the stuff that happened in this episode for Supergirl, it really kind of diverted what was being built up throughout some of the other episodes throughout the season. For example, throughout most of the season, we're basically being built up to the fact that Lena's become a villain. Obviously,
Yeah.
they don't always have to like stick down that road. I mean, there can be something that happened that like maybe she becomes kind of like a good guy again or a good girl in this case. Problem is that the way that they did it, and especially what happened in the episode before, it's just making this whole Lena story arc very unclear and
Yeah.
a little incoherent because it's like, okay, in the last episode, she tried making up with Kara, but then she saw her as a hypocrite for using Myriad. And I thought that was great because that's like,
I thought
okay,
that
that's
was
her
great
going
too.
back in her ways. She's still stuck in her ways. She's not going to change just because like she wants to be friends with someone again. Like she is who she is. You know, she has to stay true to herself. You know, she is a Luther. Um,
Yeah.
and
I just yeah.
sorry, go
Sorry.
on.
I was just saying like just didn't like you said, like if we brought up to think he's turning into a villain, and all of a sudden
Hmm.
she goes back to her. Unless
Yeah,
there's something bigger planned, something
yeah,
bigger happens where beat Leviathan and then leave, like, yeah, I'm out now. I don't want to see your face again,
yeah.
sort of thing. Unless they do something like that, but I really don't know. I was really hoping for Lena to become a villain. I was
Hmm.
really excited for that. I
Well,
still think maybe next season she'll be the villain of some
they
sort.
were building that up throughout the entirety of this season. Even after Crisis on Infinite Earth, she still was like being, like antagonizing Supergirl, and like
Yeah,
in the span of two episodes, their like relationship gets like not really fixed in like 100%, but like she's kind of like being more lenient on Kara. But it's like okay, like how can you say that when someone felt like because like Kara as Supergirl, she's treated Lena like crap,
yeah, I
like
agree with you on that point because I think it was this episode. I think The girl even said, "When there's smoke, there's a Luther." And like, I don't even think Lena was.
I know, like when
She
you,
didn't even know
yeah,
pretty
I know
much.
when you have those lines of dialogue, and as well as like what happened in the last episode, and all of a sudden like Lena just goes back to Kara just because she's being used by her brother, or like not really being used, but like she realizes what her brother's doing. It's like, okay, I mean, shouldn't you try to like fix this yourself instead of just going back to the one person that you basically hate? Like, I mean, Lena hates Kara more than anything. Like in this season, she hates her more than her brother. And like all of a sudden,
Yeah,
like her brother does like one thing, he reveals to her like what's going on with like how like he's like, oh, he never sabotaged. It's just that he knew that her plan of like trying to make the world more peaceful would fail from the start. Like it's like I just want like I don't want it to be like so set in her ways that she's a very static character, but at the same time, the way that like they handled her story, like her character arc throughout this entire season is just really it's really all over the place. Like
yeah, I agree
I
with
honestly
you.
at this
Like,
point I don't even know what the writers want Lena to be. I don't know if they still want her to, because like when you look at the 100th episode in the future, you had Lena basically like becoming like complete evil, but that's
yeah,
like in an alternate timeline. I really I really wish that like they would go down that route, because like that would be so interesting considering the fact that
I
like
agree.
Supergirl and Lena, or Kara and Lena, sorry, they have like a real they're like basically best friends, and you see best friends fight each other. I feel like that would be really those are really interesting story arcs. It's not like, because it's not your typical hero villain dynamic where, oh, the hero fights the villain and they don't really know much about them, and like through they kind of learn about them throughout like their journey of trying to defeat them and whatnot. But it's like these two know each other for quite a while. They were best friends, and now that like they're actually gonna fight each other, and like it makes the fight not more personal. It makes it more than just more personal. It also makes it more brutal as well. And I really want that. Really wanted that to happen, but now I don't even know what the writers. I don't even think the writers know what they want for what Lena to be. You know?
Yeah, I don't know either. I still feel like maybe in the next couple seasons or something they'll make Lena the villain. I feel like
Yeah,
if they make a mistake, if they make a mistake in the future, they'll just be like, okay, guys, let's just make Lena the villain and go from there. Like,
yeah.
I still think season's been decent. It hasn't been the best season, but really, I
Hmm.
still really enjoyed this episode as a whole. I really like Braina, face. I
Brainy.
keep Brainy, yeah, Brainy and Dreamer's confrontation sort of thing. I think
Yeah.
I want to see where kind of that goes, because I think Brainy's one of my favorite characters on the show right now. So
I just like
hoping,
I understand he's trying to be. I understand that, like in other seasons, he was a very comedic character and a very witty and smart. But like here, he obviously like since he had like those like inhibitors or whatever. Sorry,
uh,
whatever you call them. Like he had them change or whatever. Like so, he
took him
revealed his
off.
true self. Yeah.
He took him off.
I just like his character is just downgraded because now he's like one of those typical. Oh, I have to do whatever I have to do in order to defeat the bad guys and whatnot. But it's like um, it's not really working out that well. His character, it's not that his character is bad, it's just his character is really boring.
It's
I just
fair.
was like,
I get that point, but on the other hand, like, never saw this Brainy until now, and I've really enjoyed this
yeah,
type of Brainy. So, and I'm just curious to see if Brainy's like, after they defeat Leviathan or
mhm.
whatever, or how they're gonna do it. Is Brainy gonna go like, "Oh yeah, Lex Luthor, I'm done," or is he gonna stick with Lex? I think.
That's another thing I had a problem with Brainy was how, or this season at least, is how like there's that one episode where like he was meeting with the other Brainies and whatnot with other
Mm,
Brainiacs, and they're like, yeah, you have to like be your true self in order, or something like that. You have to like team up with Lex Luthor to take down Leviathan, or something like I don't even remember. But like it was that one episode where like he had like the green Brainy, like the comic book accurate Brainy. Um, the one thing that I really don't like is that they start that, because that's the character arc. They start that, but they don't really do anything throughout the entire season. He just shows up every now and then, and he's like, "Oh yeah, thanks, citizen, for your hard work and stuff like that." And then he just goes, like, he just like goes off screen. Like, there's
yeah, I
nothing
get
really
that.
like. It's only now that we're getting like more character development for this type of brainy character, for Brainiac character.
Yeah,
Um, and like it's gonna get. I'm pretty sure it's gonna get resolved at the next episode, which is the season finale. I
Yeah.
just I don't really like how they basically did nothing, little to nothing to for his character in terms of like develop developing this version of Brainy, and then all of a sudden it's gonna get resolved. Like, oh, he's either gonna be like more like happy Brainy or more like kind of cold and heartless Brainy. So that type of thing. There was little to nothing done with his character, and that's what really kind of hurt me a little bit.
I get that, but I still think still think Brainy's a good character. I still think I get the point that I think he should be on screen more, developing him more, trying for us to understand more.
Hmm.
I still think they should do that, but like, I don't know what they can do really.
Yeah.
Besides that point, like we don't want just a single episode of Supergirl just based on Brainy and how
Hmm.
he's going, sort of thing. So
Well, I feel like if your personality change, I feel like that's huge. Considering the fact that if you're like also in the main group of heroes, that I feel like that's going to be really huge.
yeah. Okay, so
And then I assume your number one would be Batwoman. I mean, I
yeah,
agree with you on this one here. This was
yeah.
another one that I agree with.
Oh,
Batwoman
I
for
have
me
been
is number one.
enjoying Batwoman a lot more lately. Have
Hmm.
been doing a tremendous job. Like at the beginning, I haven't really enjoyed Batwoman as much, but as it continued, I've um really enjoyed it. So
Hmm.
I think Hush, bro, I didn't think I would like him, but bro, he's such a cool character to me.
Yeah.
I'm not
He
with
looks
all
all right for the
Batman.
first. Sorry, I just want to interrupt. For the first live action iteration of Hush, he looked fine. Like a lot of
I
people are
agree
complaining
with you.
about his
It
look,
looked
but it's like
good.
I mean, like, what else are you gonna expect? Like, you're not like I don't really know what other people are expecting for a live action Hush. I mean, like a live action Hush, it's basically just a guy with bandages on his face and with like a trench coat on and two silencers. I mean, like, there's nothing really else that you can expect from that. I mean, he looked fine. I mean, granted, I mean, maybe he can look just a little bit better, but like have fine. He looked great. I have no
I
problem
agree
with him.
with you.
I know because a lot of people are complaining about his look, and like, okay, I don't know what you're supposed to expect from it.
Like what you expect. Like they're not gonna go all out, and he looks good. I'm not. He looks
Mhm,
really good. Like this episode, I really enjoyed it. From them capturing Lucas Fox and the
mhm,
girl to pretty much everything. Like in the
mhm,
fight with between Batwoman and Lucius Fox. I
mhm,
really enjoyed pretty much the whole entire episode. There wasn't a moment where I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed pretty much all of it. I'm really enjoying Batwoman and Lucius Fox's relationship because
mhm,
obviously there's this one quote. It's like Batwoman is nothing without Lucius Fox, which really kind of it makes sense because there was no Batman without Alfred, sort of thing. If Alfred
mhm,
wasn't there, there wouldn't be a Batman. It's just
mhm,
always like you always need like a sidekick sort of thing, but that's not fighting. He's just on comms or on the computer
mhm.
telling where to go, sort of thing. So
Yeah. Um. Yeah, this episode was pretty good. This also was my number one. I feel like ever since the Mad Tea Party episode with what's her name? Catherine, or
uh,
was her name Catherine Kane or something like that? Yeah, like with her
something
dying.
like that.
I feel like when like that episode, I feel like ever since that episode, the show is just gradually becoming better. I know like the show started off really bad. Like it was
Yeah,
one of the worst episodes, like one of the worst shows. Sorry for DC TV, and it got
yeah.
better. This episode, what I really liked about this episode is that actually it's building up to a climax. Unlike
Oh
with
yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
unlike with the Flash like the second last episode of the Flash this season, I really didn't feel like there was a build up to anything. Now I know I understand that the season was cut short, but here's the thing: Batwoman season's also cut short too, and this actually is actually
Mm.
building up to a great finale.
Yeah, I
Although
agree.
one thing off was Alice at the very end of the episode. She's like, "Oh, we're gonna go find kryptonite." That was a little strange because I don't know how that's gonna
Yeah,
play
because
into
I'm like, yeah, I don't. That's what confused me at the end of the episode. Like kryptonite is the thing that kills that woman.
No, well, the
Weird.
kryptonite obviously the kryptonite's a Kryptonian's weakness, but I don't know how that'd play into Batwoman unless if like maybe her suit is like the only way you can destroy her suit is by kryptonite. I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna deal with that.
Yeah,
I'll just have to wait next week.
I'm super curious how they're gonna do with that. So I guess we'll see in the next episode or next season, perhaps. But
Mm-hmm.
have to see. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I've liked everything about the show so far, and
Mm-hmm.
I like how they're improving, which is a really good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hope it.
Um,
Yeah,
sorry, go
continue.
on.
I'm just hoping they keep going in this direction. I don't get it. Like every season, there's going to be a season where it's going to suck, but
Mm-hmm.
if they keep going down this route where it's just like decent episode, decent episode, decent episode, I'm not asking for them to bring back Harley Quinn or someone like that. I'm just keep doing what they're doing. I just don't. I even think the writing's been good for this show so far.
Mm-hmm.
Not maybe the second half more than the first
Mm-hmm.
half, obviously. So,
Yeah.
um, I think me and you talked about this off screen too. I would like more of a more. I want what's the word? I want more villains for her, like main villains. Like Alice for me is like the only main villain.
Yeah.
Completely honest. I like for her to have more villains. Just
Mm-hmm.
like I just want more villains. Obviously, I just don't think
Yeah.
having Alice as like the main villain for pretty much the season,
Mm-hmm.
which makes
Yeah.
sense, I guess. But I just want more villains to come in the future. I don't know what they're gonna do. I think Hush can be a cool main villain. I think they did something like that, but I don't know. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
we'll have to see.
Yeah, another thing before we move on to our next segment, one thing on the episode a lot of people missed, and actually I'm kind of surprised that no one's actually talking about this because I follow quite a bit of those like Arrowverse or DCTV Instagram pages. While Alice was reading Lucius Fox's journal with the glasses on, like it translated some of the text. There was an Easter egg that mentioned the Order of Saint Dumas. Now, if you don't know what that is actually the order that Asriel's in. So, I mean,
Oh,
I don't know if they're hinting at an Asriel. That would be really interesting.
that would
I
be
would really like
really
to see
really
the
interesting.
Order of Saint Dumas because I feel like the Order of Saint Dumas would be the new
Huh?
League of Shadows for the Arrowverse, considering the
League of
fact that
Shadows.
Arrow's done now. So I feel like
Yeah.
I mean it would be really interesting to kind of explore the same. I know this is just an Easter egg, but it'll be really cool to have the Order of Saint Dumas actually be part of the Arrowverse, and actually maybe like I'd hope like what I really want, just like for the future, is if like there's like a season of Batwoman that was similar to Arrow season 3, where main hero, in this case Kate Kane, she goes off to like the Order of Saint Dumas and trains there or something like that, or she's forced to go there against her will. You know, kind of like in Arrow
Yeah.
season 3, where Oliver had to go to League of Shadows to save his sister and whatnot. I
Yeah.
really want something like that to happen. You know, 'cause I feel like that'd be really. I feel like I feel like the show, even though yeah, it's like kind of depending a lot on Batman lore and whatnot.
Yeah.
I feel like it would help the show a lot, considering the fact that like Batman isn't really that big of a character in this universe, at least. In other universes, yeah, sure, obviously he's one of the like Justice League Trinity and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I would like to see more of like stuff like the Order of Saint Dumas, and maybe even having like an Asriel appear. That'll be really
I think
interesting.
that yeah, that would be super cool and whatnot. And I get the point where and people talk about like obviously when they talk about Batwoman, they want Batman eventually,
I
Bruce
don't know if
Wayne.
I'd want. I mean, it would be cool to see him there, but like, I don't. I'd take a lot of the spotlight, and it's like, okay, this
In
is
my
not really
opinion,
about
they should
Batman.
bring him back, but he's not on crime fighting. He's done. He's just
Hmm.
done. He's not going back to fight. I think if they bring him back more as like a Bruce Wayne who helps like the LAPD just improve their weaponry just to be able to take
LAPD? You
down
mean GCPD?
GCPD. Sorry, I'm thinking about real life. God, whatever. So I think if they do something like that, like Bruce Wayne comes back and maybe he's like gives like the reins to Batwoman sort of thing. I think that would be
Mhm.
kind of cool. And maybe
Yeah,
I don't think maybe in an emergency situation he comes back as Batman, but I don't think that will happen.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so I
I
don't.
mean, there is that popular theory that Bart Thawne, I mean, he's going to take over Bruce Wayne's body and eventually become the Red Death. I don't know. I mean, I've talked about this before. I really want this to happen because it'd be so interesting to have like a season wide crossover between Batwoman and the Flash. But I don't know if that's going to happen. Considering the fact that recently the showrunner Carolyn Dries, I think that's her name, she really wants to have a world finest crossover between Supergirl and Batwoman. She really wants those two to become the next Superman and Batman. So I don't really
I
don't
think
think. Sorry,
I
I just
think
want to continue. I don't think the Red Death thing is going to happen, considering the fact that like both the showrunners as well as some of the writers, I don't think they want that to happen as well. Although it'll be really cool, it'll be really interesting to see it. But yeah, sorry, go on.
I was just saying like I think it could happen, but I feel like if it's I don't know if the crossover is going to be just Supergirl and Batwoman.
Hmm.
Well, I think if they're doing another crossover, I think they should do everybody maybe.
Hmm.
I don't know if they do the Red Death thing, like you said. Like, is he going to
Hmm.
be the main villain where like Flash is chasing Bruce Wayne and like
Yeah,
all
that would
taking
be
on a
really.
speedster?
Yeah, that'd be really interesting too. Yeah.
So yeah, I'll have to see. And then yeah, so
So now we're going to move on to our next segment, and this will be just our overall thoughts since season 6 of The Flash. I mean, what we're recording this right now. It would be the 13th of May. So The Flash season 6 just wrapped up yesterday. So I want to give our overall thoughts. I mean, we really kind of did like like our episode review, I guess, or not review, but like a kind of like discussed the episode already in our episode rank, or this week's ranking of DC TV. And now I actually want to get into your overall thoughts on the season as well as just really anything related to season 6 of The Flash.
okay, let me start this off. Me, in my opinion, this has been the worst season. It's just like the whole season's just like it's just bad, bro.
Boring.
Like boring, bad. Like with the time, it's Detective Barry. It's not. He's just. I get it. He's losing his powers, but at some points, you need to give us something more entertaining. Like I get it. He's losing his powers, and we're getting more Detective Barry, and like all the characters are in stress because he doesn't have his powers, and people are
Hmm.
probably going to get hurt that he doesn't have his powers, and one of those things where like I think they were just like at the beginning it was good. Like the beginning couple episodes were good. Then when the COVID-19 thing popped up, they rushed.
Hmm.
They were just rushing to fill all these episodes. And like final episode of the Flash, there was so many. They were just crammed everything into one thing. Well, I don't
Hmm.
really. I feel like the Mirror Master. I thought was. I think Mirror Master is a cool character in general, but they didn't. It was just poor storytelling. Like most of the time, Barry was worried about the other guy. I forget his name. Okay, or the other guy focused on, and then Barry finds out that it's not actual Iris because she makes good pancakes.
Hmm.
It's just this whole season has been disappointing to me. I thought Master, I didn't really know much about the character, but once I started learning more, I really enjoyed. Like she's a super cool character. But on the other hand, it's just they didn't really tell her story the best. Well, maybe
Hmm.
they did. As it's on your really, it's your opinion. But I didn't think they told the story the best.
See, I think actually the complete opposite. Although I do agree that the story is not that great, I kind of agree with the complete opposite. With because like when the season first started in season or yeah, sorry, yeah, when the season first started, he had the blood work storyline. I thought that was actually really good. I thought like I genuinely thought that that was better than like both like the cicadas from season 5.
Mm.
Although I'm thinking about that now, I'm actually starting to appreciate both the entirety of season 5 because it actually wasn't terrible. I actually did enjoy some parts of it. Actually, a lot of parts of it. Um, but yeah, the Bloodwork storyline was very promising. It was very good. liked how it wrapped up. And also I really like the last two episodes right before Crisis on Infinite Earths. Those were being the Last Temptation of Barry Allen parts 1 and 2. I thought that was great because it's basically like a dissection of Barry's. It was basically a character study for Barry Allen, and
Yeah.
it was just great because like apparently he was supposed to sacrifice his life in Crisis. Now it did never really happen, but and they never really expanded on that in the crossover. But it, I did like how basically both the Speed Force and Bloodwork were kind of fighting for control over Barry. I thought that was some really good storytelling. I thought that was actually great writing,
Uh,
and it was great. And I was hoping for something of that caliber. I was hoping for writing of that caliber to continue on in the Mirror Master storyline, but that never really happened. Instead, we were kind of just left out in the dark, and honestly, like it was pretty boring for the most part. Like there was nothing really going on, like
yeah.
because like Iris, yeah, she got trapped in the Mirrorverse, but then like they didn't really go off of that. They just kept like leaving us in the dark, and like, ooh, they're hinting that like Ava might be evil and whatnot, and then like they actually start like they finally reveal that like Ava is Mirror Master kind of late into the season, especially since like by the time that happened, this season was cut short due to the pandemic going on in the world right now. So production was cut short, and they still introduced that, but it's like I feel like this season they were really playing it slow with this season, or the second half of this season at least, and it really didn't work. I think here's the thing. I think even if the season wasn't cut short and we got the full like the proper ending that the show was supposed to get, I still don't think it would be that good because it was so boring and there was not much that happened. Like there was a lot of filler episodes, but like in those filler episodes, you'd have scenes between like Iris and Ava in the Mirrorverse, and they weren't really doing anything. There wasn't any character development at all. But we weren't really moving the plot along. It was just Ava's like, "Oh no, 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 no! I can't leave this place." And then it's just like it kept on going and whatnot, and it was so boring. And I
Yeah.
get the fact that she was scheming and planning, but it's like, why did it take this long? Why did you need why did it take Ava this long to finally leave the Mirrorverse when she could have left like just like 2 seasons ago? Like 2 seasons ago, she could have like had her revenge against her husband. But like no, it's only until now, which is like 6 seasons after or 6 years, sorry, after the particle accelerator exploded. But it's like, okay, what have you been doing in the meantime? Obviously, you've been losing your sanity and whatnot because the Mirrorverse kind of like makes you lose control of who you really are. But it's like, why wait this long? I mean, your plan isn't like there wasn't really any elaborate plan. It was just that like she's gonna get, I guess, clones to do her bidding. I guess like her mirror clones
Yeah,
to
that
do
was
her
gonna
bidding.
point I was gonna bring up that she needed like clones, like you said, to help her because I didn't think she could. I don't know if she could have got out like way before that. I
Hmm.
think she needed to do some things get so she can get out. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
true or not. I don't
I
know if
mean,
she could have just left right at the beginning and she just needed clones to do some
yeah,
dirty work.
I think well also like her husband kind of like tampered, well not tampered, but he kind of messed with her like her work and whatnot, like sold it for like weapons and stuff. And I think that's why I think that's like her motive. But at the same time, it's been really drawn out. Like her both her story arc, like both her character as well as this season or the second half of the season was really drawn out. Like the only way to really entertain us was to have filler episodes. For example, like the last episode before this with the Pied Piper and the Godspeed stuff
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
like
really
that
enjoyed that
really had
episode.
to entertain us. And actually, here's the thing: when um, not only was the show so boring, but when I watched the Godspeed versus Flash fight, I almost forgot how the Flash was like back then. Like because like Flash would like actually be in suit, he would be fighting speedsters, he'd have his speed and
Yeah,
whatnot. Now, obviously, like he had to like the Speed Force had to die in order to save the multiverse, but like in Crisis, but um I just almost forgot I almost forgot how entertaining seeing the Flash fight was
yeah,
because like this season I got so used to them just like standing around and doing little to nothing and just talking in like Star Labs and whatnot. I got so used to that this season that I like when I got when I was watching the Godspeed episode, like this the one right before this one, the right before the season finale, I
yeah.
almost like I was just almost so blown away, even though the episode wasn't just think that episode was like mediocre at best. I mean, it was pretty cool to
I
see
agree with
like
you on
another
that
speedster
point. It
villain.
was
But it
really
was
mediocre.
that episode was mediocre. I was still blown away by it because I almost forgot how like the Flash was. I almost forgot why this show was so entertaining. This season has probably had to be, besides the Bloodworth stuff, like the first half of the season's fine. The second half of the season is probably some of the most unentertaining Arrowverse content I've ever seen. Like I like it's not terrible. It's not as bad as Arrow season 4 or Legend season 4, but
Yeah.
I'd say that it was so boring.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like the one where Flash obviously fights Godspeed, I kind of forgot too how cool it was when he fought speedsters. I just
Yeah.
totally forgot how when he fights, it's cool. Like it's super slow. It's like it's super cool. Like
Mhm.
um, and I feel like next season, the Mirror Master's still going to be the main villain. They're
I feel
still
like
going
they're
to
gonna
try.
split it into two parts. So it's like the first half of season 7 would be the
I
Mirror
was about
Mask.
to say that. I was about to say
Yeah.
like the first half will probably be Mirror Master, and maybe the second half, like when they beat her, it will become Godspeed. I
Yeah,
think.
I really want Godspeed or another speedster villain to be like a main villain for a season because I just like I understand that some people are still tired of having speedster villains, considering the fact that the first 3 seasons of the show were all speedster villains.
For villains, yeah.
I just wanted to go back to speedster villains just for now because like the non-speedster villains they're all right. Like DeVoe, he was all right. I mean, he was nothing too special or anything like that. I mean,
Like
I didn't.
Rod, I think he was all right too.
I'm talking about like the main villains for like
Oh, main
the
villains, yeah.
main villains, the main antagonists. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Girly God's a good villain, but like DeVoe, he was all right. There was nothing too significant about him. I did like the backstories behind both of the cicadas, and I really like the like kind of not the motive, but I did like the episode where it focused on Erland Dwyer's kind of like traumatic experiences of the Enlightenment, the Night of the Enlightenment, where like I think can't remember if it was like his nephew or something like that, or like the girl he was taking care of, like she got damaged too, like and like he started to hate man. I did like his backstory. I did like
Yeah,
the
I liked
episode.
his backstory. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it was his daughter actually that got
yeah,
hurt. Then the
yeah, and
daughter, I think, the future came back. And
yeah. The future
then
in the
she was
future, like she
Cicada.
came back to finish her father's job. And I again, I did. I also kind of liked the finale as well. The finale was pretty good as well for that season.
Yeah,
And then you had Bloodwork, and Bloodwork was really good. I still liked it over both Cicadas just because of how entertaining it was. How I mean, it was fast paced. Like it was the pacing was a little off because it was like just going by really quickly. Like I remember the season premiere for I remember the premiere for this season of The Flash. It was like the pacing was very off, but I still like that. Then like we actually got more into Ramsey Rousseau and like how he becomes Bloodwork. I thought that was great. I like his motive. Um, and then you had Mirror Master. And Mirror Master, I'd say, is probably the worst non-speedster villain. I really don't see her character improving at all, as like even as just like a straight up villain. Like I mean, there could be like no character development for her, but like she's still like there's no way that I can see her becoming a good villain even for next season.
yeah,
Just
I
because
can.
like there's nothing like she already accomplished her job, and now obviously like we have to wait next season for what her motives are going to be. But it's like at the same time, the like her character is so it's just not compelling as a villain. Now you don't need to have compelling villains, but when you have the show and you compare some of the other villains like Reverse Flash, Zoom, Savitar, like those are the best villains. Like people agree, like those three are like the best villains. Although like Reverse Flash has like overstayed his welcome, people still agree that those three are like the best. And then you
Yeah,
have like
I agree
Cicadas.
with that.
Cicadas all right. DeVoe, there's nothing too special about him. He's like basically middle of the pack. And
Yeah,
then you had Mirror Master or Bloodwork is also pretty good too. And then Mirror Master, like I just don't see her like improving at all as both a character and a villain for next season.
yeah. I want to see like what her motivations are next season. Like, you obviously don't really know. So her main motivation this season technically was just to kill her husband. Now that's done.
I
She's
feel
just
like
gonna she's just
sorry,
gonna
go
go
on.
back. I was just saying, like, would she just go back to being like a corporate like
I feel
CEO?
like what she's gonna do is she's gonna try and like compete with Mercury Labs because Mercury Labs is like pretty popular. I feel like what she's gonna do, McCullough Technologies, she's gonna try outplay Mercury Labs and eventually like become the number one scientist, like #1 science lab in like the world and stuff like that. I feel like that's what she wants to do, and eventually, I don't know, like because her character was mostly around like revenge and stuff like that, and now that she already accomplished that, there's not really much else to do. This is why I'm saying that like even if the Flash got its proper ending, if the season wasn't cut short due to the coronavirus, I still feel like that it wouldn't be that great of a resolution because what they do now,
Oh, Marley, you're cutting out for me, guy. Oh,
I just didn't really like
you were
DeVoe.
cutting
I
out
mean,
for
like
me
again,
half
DeVoe
that.
was like the middle of the pack for me, but like at the Day of the Enlightenment. I mean, I
Oh,
guess that
okay.
was all
I'll
part of
I'll
his
just I'll
plan, but
just
at the
continue
same
on that
time, like
point. I
he wasn't
think that's
really,
probably what's going to happen. I
he,
feel
he
like
wasn't
maybe
compelling enough.
they
Yeah.
start getting more
Oh,
desperate.
okay.
Maybe he
Just get
goes to
most of
her
it. Yeah.
just asking to get his wife back, or
Hmm.
and the other girl obviously, and maybe making some sort of deal or something.
Hmm.
That could be.
I
Um,
really want him to go to Atlantis.
I think he still will. I think he still will, but I feel like
Hmm.
maybe at one point he just gets desperate and just wants his wife back, sort of thing, where he just goes
Do you think
back.
that there's gonna be an Aquaman in this? Considering the fact that they they,
It's
they
tough.
name dropped Atlantis. Do you think that they're gonna like? There's gonna be an Aquaman at least, or like a Mera or something like that?
I
Or
think there has to be one of those guys, at least one. It doesn't have to be Aquaman, so we'll have to see. I think there will be someone big there. We'll just have to see
mm.
and whatnot.
So, final thoughts on this season?
It was my least favorite season of The Flash yet. You can disagree with me or whatever, but I just didn't enjoy the season one bit. I
Hmm.
did enjoy Barry becoming more of the detective Barry. I really did enjoy that. Besides that, it was bad.
Yeah. All right. So, my final thoughts. They were. It started off strong, but then it had a really poor finish, and I think I still stand by the fact that even if it did get its proper ending, it still wouldn't have been that great. And the
Yeah.
cliffhanger, I mean, it wasn't too big of a cliffhanger, and there's a large portion of the Arrowverse community that wants Iris dead. Like a lot of people, like I know another friend of mine legit really wanted Savitar to kill Iris in season 3, and like, and it's like, I'm pretty sure it's like, like if I'm pretty sure they watched the finale. If they're listening to this now, I'm pretty sure they'd probably be like gloating at the fact that like Iris is like dead, you know. So.
Yeah, I think it would have to be like a bigger villain than Mirror Master to kill Iris. In my opinion, it has to be
Mhm.
if someone's like it's Reverse Flash, if it's like one like that or something, it has to be a bigger villain
Yeah,
than
speaking
Mirror
of,
Master.
the proper actual ending, like, for the season, like, before it got cut short, sorry, was, it was supposed to involve Eobard Thawne, and I was thinking that, like, maybe he takes over some I think he was supposed to take over Bloodworks, he was supposed to take over Bloodworks' body, and then he becomes, the Red Death, so I think he was supposed to be the Red Death this season.
Hmm.
Is weird because, like, I mean, again, like I said, I really want Red Death to happen. I just would prefer if it was Bruce Wayne. And another thing is that how is this going to tie in with what's his face, Godspeed?
Yeah,
Because with Godspeed, the Godspeed thing is still going on. We don't really know who like the leader of these Godspeeds. You know,
yeah,
we don't know if it's another Godspeed or someone else. So
yeah. I would
uh,
like to see what they kind of do with that.
yeah. I mean, it would be interesting to have. I guess like Godspeed could be a recurring villain, and then like the main villain would be Red Death, and maybe like Red Death kind of takes all of Godspeed's speed or something like that. Um,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah,
think that would be kind of cool.
I think what they're hinting at, like, for me, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like for season 7 of the Flash, I feel like what they're gonna do is just like since the season was supposed to end on a cliffhanger with Eobard Thawne supposedly taking over Ramsey Rousseau's body or Bloodworks' body. I feel like that's going to be the mid-season finale of of season 7 of the Flash or next season. I
Yeah,
feel
I
like that's
think
what
they
it's.
have to do something with that. I think because the last time we left off is like he's in his body, and then he just pretty much explodes out, and we don't know what really happened.
Yeah,
But yeah, have to see
yeah.
where that goes.
I just hoping for a better season, and hopefully we get more speedsters next season. Because I mean, the Godspeed stuff, I genuinely enjoyed that.
I just want Barry to get his like powers back, and then we'll start getting back to cool fight scenes.
Yeah, I think more just like entertaining stuff and actually having good story because like the story was pretty boring. Like, if you have
Yeah,
a pretty boring story, at least you can try entertaining us with like some like cool stuff. But like nothing that really happened this season.
yeah, I
It was
agree.
very underwhelming, to say the least. So.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're gonna move on to our final segment. So this segment here is just gonna be, there's just be like discussing the. I actually want to start off with some actually brand new news. This news was actually released 2 hours ago from the official Doom Patrol DC DC Doom Patrol account on Instagram, and it's Doom Patrol season 2 will be coming out on the 25th of June. And what's interesting is that it's not going to be on the DC Universe app, although it is like in the bio, it still says that it's a part of the DC Universe or streaming on DC Universe.
Mm.
But in this new post here for Doom Patrol, it actually says it's going to be coming to HBO Max, but there's no indication of it coming on DC Universe. So
Oh,
I want
okay.
to, I want to discuss this right now because this actually brought up a discussion that I actually really kind of want to talk about because it's like this isn't really good business wise, but I think that you think that considering the fact that since Stargirl is basically going to be on the CW and Titans is on Netflix and this show is now going to be on HBO Max. With all of that in mind, do you think that the DC Universe app should just die out and just have the Harley Quinn show also move to HBO Max or somewhere? I think HBO Max would make it work well. Do you think that like the DC Universe app should just die out because like one thing about DC Universe app, it's a US only app, which is kind of odd considering the fact that a lot of the shows that they film are actually
In
filmed in
Canada.
Canada here. Because
Yeah.
yes, if we do live in Canada here, and Titans was filmed in I believe Toronto. Yeah, it was filmed in Toronto. I think Doom Patrol was filmed in
I know
Atlanta. Correct me
most
if
of
I'm wrong.
I know Supergirl and I think Batwoman. Most of them are taped in Vancouver.
Yeah, those are the CW ones.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure where Stargirl's filmed at, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, it probably is could be filmed in the U.S. I'm not too sure. Um, but yeah, with all that in mind, do you think that they should just like shutter uh DC Universe app, the streaming service? Do you think they should just shutter
Um,
that?
and do what with it? Like you mean like just
Like
move
just
it all
close
to
it down because like
HBO?
all of its bigger shows except for Harley Quinn are basically going to other platforms or not platforms, but like networks and whatnot.
Um, I don't know. I think I have to do what's best for them, and if that's what's best, then they'll do it.
Hmm.
But if they just want to keep doing what they're doing right now, I think that's fine too. It's just really up to them what makes them more money, sort of thing. Like
Yeah,
I don't really have an opinion on this. I just don't really care as long as I'm able to watch it, sort of thing. I
yeah, the
couldn't
thing
care
is, not a
less.
lot of people can watch it. Like a lot of people can't watch it. I know, like the UK. I don't know if it's UK, but I know some other countries they still can't even watch Titan season 2. So it's or I don't even know if that's
Mm,
true or not, but I know like some people can't watch Titan season 2, which is kind kind of concerning considering the fact that Titan season 2 ended quite a while ago now.
yeah,
I mean, obviously it's available for us here on Netflix.
yeah.
Um, but like with those shows, I feel like for me, they should just move it to HBO Max because HBO Max has already had a good start when it comes to DC content. I mean, they had Watchmen, the Watchmen was
Which is
really good.
really
That
good.
show was really good. I definitely recommend it. Watch. For me, it's still my favorite comic book show out there right now.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, there's also going to be a Blue Beetle and a Green Lantern show, and now
Oh,
apparently HBO
I
Max
must say, I'm super excited for Green Lantern and Blue Beetle because I think Blue
yeah.
Beetle is one of the coolest DC characters. So
Mhm. And then
super
yeah,
excited for that.
obviously now with the latest of news, we are going to be having Doom Patrol moving, or I don't know about moving over, but yeah, it's going to be streaming on HBO Max. Now, for me, I think for business wise, I feel like Warner Brothers should just shut down DC Universe because it's not really making them a lot of money. The only selling points are its shows, but like when you realize you can just wait, like you can just wait a couple months after the shows initially end and then just watch them the on like other platforms. I mean, like Stargirl is going to be coming to the CW a day after it's like each episode. Like if you don't know, each Stargirl episode for the CW is going to be airing a day after it is streamed initially on DC Universe.
Yeah.
So I'm really thinking because a lot of I feel like for me, this is just personally speaking. For me, I feel like Stargirl is going to be you. I feel like Titans is going to be watched more on Netflix because a lot of people don't live in the United States. And Doom Patrol, I feel like it's going to get a lot more exposure now, considering the fact that when it comes to the DC Universe shows, Doom Patrol gets the least exposure. Like right now, Stargirl is getting more attention than uh, Doom Patrol. That's simply because it's the CW. They're good with advertising. They're good with marketing.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree with you on that point. I wouldn't care either way if they move it just everything, just delete the app and move pretty much
mhm,
everything to the HBO. The HBO's I think is one of the bigger
mhm.
networks.
Yeah, it's
So
bigger. It's making more money, and it's also still Warner Brothers property. I mean, it's making more money than DC Universe because DC Universe is United States exclusive only. Now, I know HBO Max is also United States, but in Canada here it's called Crave. So
yeah,
and it's you still get the episodes on time at least. At least it's one from what I heard it, whatnot. And
yeah.
another thing is that like with Titans, I feel like that show should also be moved over to HBO Max is just because on Netflix, like obviously, yeah, Netflix they lost the Marvel shows, but at the same time, like it has a bunch of other originals that can carry Netflix's weight, even though it's losing quite a bit of money because it's been I guess it's not being it's basically overtaken by stuff like Disney Plus and HBO Max and whatnot, all the other streaming services. I feel like Titans, like if Warner Brothers wants all their stuff more organized, I feel like they should just move all the DC shows to HBO Max and just have that be the hub for DC and anything else related to HBO and whatnot. I don't know. That's just me. I feel like it would make more business sense because like it doesn't really make any sense to continue supporting a streaming service app that's only available in one country and like all the shows can be watched in like another platform except for Harley Quinn. And Harley Quinn I think is so far really what's carrying DC Universe's
The
weight,
Harley Quinn animated
so
show, I've watched it. I've really enjoyed it. It's super
yeah.
funny. So, and it's very brutal at points. So I've really enjoyed that show. So yeah, I get what you're saying. They should just move it all to HBO, and then the stuff would getting more traction. Like you said, Doom Patrol, Titans would get
Yeah,
more.
get more exposure in HBO. Considering the fact that like even with HBO when they were advertising Watchmen, they did a pretty good job with the marketing and whatnot. Like it was
Yeah,
great. Like I know, like because I followed some of the Instagram page. They had some pretty cool stuff in there as well. They had like some sort of like they basically had like these like files that like the like classified files like of like I think Agent Blake or something like that, and they all were like complementary to the Watchmen show. Like you'd later learn that this is who Lou Man really is and whatnot. And it was really cool. All the stuff that they did on the side for that show was awesome. So I feel like Titans should definitely get something like that as well. Maybe like similar to Watchmen, maybe you could have like the Bruce Wayne files, and it's Bruce Wayne's kind of like personal files on each Titans member and whatnot. I mean, that would be pretty
yeah,
cool, something like that. I feel like HBO would definitely handle the show much better.
yeah,
Because the marketing for Titans was kind of lame
yeah.
because
It
like
was.
because in the finale of season two, it advertised Nightwing as a main point of the finale. Now I know that's like a big part because that was our live action Nightwing, technically speaking, but it's like that shouldn't have been a main marketing point. it should focus on like the story and whatnot, and like other parts, like, oh, this is the epic finale between Deathstroke and Nightwing, or and whatnot, instead of actually Dick Grayson becoming Nightwing, because that should have happened a season ago. That was supposed to happen a season ago, but obviously it was like the show was a huge mess. So, and even then, the marketing team, I just don't think they know what they're doing for Titans when it comes to DC Universe. I just really don't think they know what they're doing. Again, like I said, from a business standpoint, it would make more sense to move all the streaming shows besides Stargirl over to HBO Max, unless if they want HBO Max to continue on with Stargirl and have it same format where HBO Max streams it first, and then a day later it's aired on the CW. I feel like it'd be for me it's just better because HBO Max is Warner Brothers property. They own it.
Yeah.
So like why can't you just move all your shows there? I understand you want to have like a DC Universe show, or sorry, DC Universe streaming like service, but when you look at what Disney's doing, Disney, they have Star Wars, Marvel, National Geographic. Was it ESPN was
I
also
think
there
so.
too? Was it ESPN's been
Yeah.
Disney Plus? Yeah, they have all that stuff. They also have their Disney originals. They have all that in one streaming
Yeah.
service. I feel like HBO Max should be the hub of anything Warner Brothers related. And Warner Brothers, they have a lot of stuff. Like they can like maybe like at some point in the future they can stream the new Mortal Kombat animated movie.
Yeah.
I think it's called Scorpion's Revenge. They can do that there. Like move all their Warner Brothers property stuff into HBO Max because that's theirs. They own it. Why would you start? Why would you support an app? That's like if Marvel got its own streaming service. Now I'm
Bro, that
pretty
would be
sure it would
whack.
get more popular. It would get more subscriptions than DC Universe
Yeah.
because it's more popular. But like to carry its own weight, not really. Because to be completely honest with you, the Marvel section in Disney Plus is kind of pathetic. The only thing that it has going for it are the MCU movies, but it doesn't even have all the MCU movies on it. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Exactly.
and like the shows that they have a lot of the old shows, which is great if you want to watch those old shows, but don't even have all of
Yeah.
them as well. I understand they don't
Yeah.
have the rights to some of them, but they have like they have a lot of the Spider-Man shows, and it's like, oh yeah, this is cool. Not they also have, I think they also have the X-Men shows as well, and I think Warner Brothers should kind of adopt something similar to that as well. Like just get rid of DC streaming service or DC Universe, move all their shows to either HBO Max or just have them, or yeah, just move all their shows to HBO Max. Move Titans to HBO Max and whatnot. That's also a DC show as well and whatnot. I feel like it'd just be better, so considering the fact that like they have two DC shows coming to that streaming service, that being Green Lantern and Blue Beetle, and now Doom Patrol. So I feel like it just be from a business standpoint, it makes sense just to move it over to one streaming service because then because a lot of people also don't want to pay. They also people want to save money. They don't want to pay too much for subscriptions and whatnot. And just
Yeah.
having DC Universe, like if you live in the U.S., having DC Universe just subscribing to that, that's kind of like a side pain. It's just kind of like a pain in the butt, now because now there's really only one show that you're watching because you can watch
Yeah.
all the other shows on like another like platform basically. So like
Yeah.
that's just my
I
thoughts on
think
it.
I think that makes sense if they move it all to one thing, then it wouldn't be as hard because we don't have that app obviously,
Yeah, a
so
lot
it
of
would
people
make
don't
it
actually. Yeah.
yeah, which is really surprising because like you said before, half the stuff is filmed in Canada and a lot of people I've talked to have really enjoyed all the
Hmm.
DC TV shows.
Yeah,
So I think
I don't
most
know. Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know. I think that would be a smart idea.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think I
Speaking. Sorry. Just go on.
was just saying, like, I think it would be a really good idea if they did that. Just need maybe in the future they'll do that. I don't think they'll do that anytime soon.
Hmm.
I think they maybe will do that down the line.
Yeah. Speaking of DC streaming service shows, and a show that got canceled, that being Swamp Thing, is now I guess being aired on the CW for only its first season though. The first and only season. Like it's still canceled, which is kind of saddening because I actually really want to see a Swamp Thing.
I
I
really
actually
wanted to
really
see that too.
Yeah. I mean it is coming. You can watch the first season. I don't exactly know the date. I can actually look that up right now, but yeah, the Swamp Thing season one's coming to CW, which I think it's great. But at
Yeah,
the same time, it's like I really want that show to continue on because I heard that show was really good. I haven't watched it entirely.
neither have I.
Doesn't look like there's going to be. I don't think there's an official date. I think it might come. I think it might be airing on the CW during the summer. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, it'd be really cool. I really wanted this that show to continue on, and actually, a lot of people were kind of upset when Batwoman was first revealed to have a show. A lot of people
Yeah.
were upset that like, why are we having this and not having
Something.
Swamp Thing and whatnot? And I feel like if it is going to be aired on the CW, I feel like that they should just pick that show up and just continue it. Because it's like, I mean, what else are you going to lose? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
the show is already confirmed in the Arrowverse, so it's like, I mean, you
Yeah,
might as well
exactly.
continue it. I mean, it'll be really cool. I mean, a lot of fans who did watch that show, and even fans who didn't watch that show, were deeply kind of upset that it got
Yeah,
canceled. 'Cause again, like I said, I heard that show's really good. I haven't got around to watching it. I plan on watching it, but I guess I can watch it now on the CW. Uh,
yeah.
I think so. I think it might come out during the summer. Don't quote me on that, but I just feel like it'll make sense when all the shows, even Stargirl, when it ends or the first season is over. I feel like it would make sense to air Swamp Thing on.
If you think about it, there's going to be a lot of DCU TV. So you have the Green Lantern,
Hmm.
Blue Beetle,
Hmm.
Superman. So
Yeah,
I'm
Superman and
hoping they,
Lois. Yeah.
really hoping they pick up the Canaries and
Hmm.
Arrow. I really enjoyed the last couple episodes of that. I really enjoyed it, so I hope they bring that back. I think they will. Someone
Hmm.
picks it up, I really do. So I think they will bring that back, bro. There's gonna be a lot of DCU shows. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
there's a
hard to
lot of
keep
new
up
DC
with.
shows coming to the Arrowverse. And I mean, I guess this is a little bit overload, but I mean that's fine. I mean, more shows to
I
watch.
think
That's good. Better.
I totally agree. The more shows is better. I get people don't have time to watch all the shows, but it is what
I
it
mean, it gives
is.
me something to watch because like I also watch Star Wars too, and like the Clone Wars just ended, and there's
Yeah.
going to be the Mandalorian, and there's rumors of the Mandalorian season 2
Oh,
setting up
so
a
excited
Rebel
for the
sequel.
Mandalorian.
So
So
yeah,
excited. A
yeah.
bunch of things I'm so excited for.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean this is great. I feel like Warner Bros. And DC should just fully capitalize on shows. I know they've already done that for quite a while now. Obviously, they had the
Yeah.
Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover, but I feel like they should fully like just go all out with the shows, like
Yeah, because at the moment they can't really do anything else because
make them like top
obviously they're
notch quality. Because like Marvel, they're good with their movies, yeah,
yeah.
but like
Y-
with DC, they're great with their shows, and I feel like they should
Yeah.
just continue on with that. And speaking of shows, speaking of new shows, there's also a Stargirl coming next week. Do you have any thoughts on that? Any expectations, or yeah, you can just leave it
Um,
open right now.
to be honest, I don't like to put expectations on a show that's coming out. I would like to see it first because if I don't like having high expectations, 'cause if I do,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be disappointed. Well,
Mm-hmm.
think it will be a good show. I think when I see a couple, the trailers look good so far for the ones I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to be a good show as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope maybe I think it'll be a good show. I just don't know much about Stargirl. I've never been a huge comic reader, so I don't know much about her character as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
once I start watching, I think I will get to like her a lot more because her powers seem super cool. So
Mm-hmm.
have to see.
Yeah. What I'm really interested is about this. Going to introduce the JSA or the Justice Society of America. That'll be really interesting
Yeah,
too. They also have Jay Garrick in that show too, the OG Flash. Now, obviously, like, 'cause Stargirl is in the Arrowverse. It's the new Earth 2. And I'm really interested to see how they're gonna handle the Speed Force here. Or I don't even think they're gonna handle too much on the Flash. I don't think they're gonna focus on his character a lot. But
yeah,
I'm kind of curious as to how they're gonna work with that because like I don't since the Speed Force is destroyed, I think it's only on Earth Prime. The Speed Force on Earth Prime. I'm not too sure if the Speed Force kind of in this universe or in the Arrowverse. I don't know if the Speed Force kind of is like it's like a multi-dimensional type of thing or like a multiverse type of thing. It'd be interesting to see that because yeah, Jay Garrick apparently I think he might be dead at the start of the show. I'm not too sure about that because I know the old JSA they're kind of disbanded, they were killed off or something like that, and like, I think the whole point of Stargirl is to like reunite or find the new JSA, which would be
yeah.
really interesting. Yeah.
I think it'll be super interesting.
Yeah, I too don't really have much expectations. I just want to enjoy the show, see how well it is. I didn't really have any expectations with Batwoman, and now
Yeah,
obviously there's huge backlash. I kind of was like, well, I just didn't really like how they handled the marketing for because the marketing for Batwoman, it was very similar to Captain Marvel in that it was really annoying and it's just like it actually kind of took some it took some notes from Captain Marvel's marketing and kind of just like that in Batwoman too. I just really want the show to do well. I just really want Stargirl to do well. I just want all the shows to do well because I want to be entertained. Obviously there's going to be some bad seasons, but I don't want it to be lackluster.
I think like when we said before, like Marvel makes better movies and DC makes better TV shows. I think
Hmm.
most people will agree on that, unless you're some guy named Connor. But like you said before, like I just want all the shows to do well. I just want everything to do well. If Marvel puts out a show and it's really good, I just want all the like superhero stuff, even if it's
Hmm.
not Marvel or DC. I just want everything to do well. I never want something to do very bad. I just want it to do good. I just want everybody to do good.
Hmm. All right. Well, thank you for tuning into our first podcast. This was a really fun experience, and we're gonna have more later on down the line. And hopefully, we move to more weekly schedule. But no promises about that. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.